So I get to rehab, and the first rule, what's the first rule of rehab? No drugs. Second rule, no sex while you're here. Well, shoot, I remember I was probably 13 or something.
Right.
Stealing liquor from the kitchen cabinet. And my parents didn't drink.
Okay.
My dad was a reformed alcoholic, I guess. When I was about 6, she told him, you stop drinking or me and the kids are out of here. And he stopped.
Yeah.
So he was a dry drunk. Hence his anger issues. I never went to class. I might have went to 18 classes in 3 semesters or 4 semesters. But I ended up having at least like a 1.8 GPA.
Right.
Not even going to class.
You've been clean now how many years?
46 years and 7 months.
What?
My clean date's November 28, 1979. Because the very last day I got high, I couldn't get enough in me to stop thinking. Before it worked. This day it didn't work anymore. I was sniffing, shooting, drinking, and it wasn't stopping my brain from going crazy.
So, about to embark on another journey on Dancing on a Volcano. This is episode 21. This is season 3. Having a conversation with John Duffy. John's been clean for a very, very long time. A wonderful human being. We've had conversations in the past. The neat thing about the Volcano is that we get to meet people at a deeper level and get to understand their journey, their background, their history, and hear, a hope shot of, what their journey's been like and just the fact that they're still around. So here I am with John Duffy. John and I are going to dance on the volcano. So
now I'm dancing on a volcano, bare feet over fire and stone. Yeah, I've lived through hell, but I'm not alone. The edge don't scare me, I've already been burned. Every step I take now is a lesson I've learned.
John and I met in a church basement.
This is true.
Most likely. And, we were talking about it before we got in here, that, this is a passion project, right? An opportunity for us to, share where we came from, where we are, and maybe even, dare I say, where we might be going. Who the hell knows? But when I first started studying podcasts, we talked about it, like how much I one of the things I tried to emulate, at least in part, was Rogan. And it wasn't so much, it was the informal style that I really dug. You know what I mean? Like I watch a lot of different types of podcasts, because when you start doing this, you start watching all other types of people that are doing this to see how they do it and whatever. And you'll see some guys, they've got like a, sheet of paper, or they've got an iPad and they've got a series of questions and they spend a lot of time. And I always dug that informal thing. But if you look back, like we talked about Kaizen, if you look back at early Joe Rogan, because when I was studying it, I was like, okay, how did this all really work for them? And he's had guys who have been on the show 60, 70 times.
Okay.
And I was like, and they're all his friends. And I was like, okay, like these highbrow, pinky out aspirations that we're going to get authors and leaders or whatever on the show.
Right.
Dude, it's us. Fuck all that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how can, you know what I mean? Like, we have such valuable stories and experience to bring to the table. And, and I am in recovery. I'm a listener, right? You know what I mean? I'm listening. And I'd like to say I'm listening for stories, like people's stories, but I'm not. What I'm really looking for is energy. Mm-hmm. Right? The after effect of working recovery and living life by spiritual principles kind of leaks out in who people become. And you're one of those guys. Warm, friendly, no nonsense, right? And I dug that about you from moment one. You always made me feel, I'm a transplant to the area that we're in now. And there's a natural discomfort to being in a new place and really not knowing anybody. And I don't know whether you know it or not, but in the very early stages of the rooms, you made me feel really comfortable.
No clue.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean?
That's
And
good, I guess.
That's
I
fantastic.
did it naturally, I suppose.
All right, so Duff, you originally from Delaware?
Yeah,
Okay.
born and raised.
Okay.
Never really moved out of Delaware. Nope.
No,
I've traveled, but never lived anywhere else.
right. So, let's talk a little bit about early family life, right? So, mom, dad, what was all that like for you growing
Yeah, I
up?
mean, to me, it seemed normal. And
Okay.
I believe it was normal. I had a mom and a dad. They were together, and they never got divorced. They argued.
Okay.
But dad worked. Mom stopped working when she was pregnant with me.
Okay.
And go ahead.
No.
Keep
going.
And so I was born in 1958, January 1958. And so my daddy worked for Delaware Power and Light.
Okay.
And so he was a gas service man. So summer times he was always just working 8-hour days, and he was always doing crap around the house, working on everything. And wintertime he was always working overtime to make money for us.
Mm.
And, it was interesting growing up. And I had a brother that was 2 years younger than me. I still do.
Okay.
And I have one that's 12 years younger.
Wow.
But growing up, it was like me and the 2 year younger one hanging out and doing stuff. And we were always getting into trouble because Mom had the three of us, but at first it was the two of us. So we were always getting in trouble, and we always got beat. We got beatings, like that's what it was in the 60s. You did shit
Right.
wrong, you got your ass beat. Mom's thing would be, go get me something to hit you with, go get the belt, or do you want me to tell your father?
I'd be like, where's the belt at?
Right, and then it was like when Dad come home and he would have his fit, and if it was something terrible, he'd beat your ass. If nothing, he'd just yell at you. And so at an early age, me and my other brother was like, we're just going to make this shit worthwhile, man.
Yeah,
Might
he's
as well-
going to catch a beat.
I'm going to get beat anyway. I'm making it worth it. So no holds barred at that point,
Right. So
we did all kinds of stuff.
What are your recollections of childhood in the '60s in Delaware? Like, what was?
I mean, it's kind of fun, honestly. Wiffle
Yeah.
ball, stickball, football, baseball. And growing up, where I grew up in Union Park Gardens, they built that boys club in Ellesmere.
Okay.
And when I was a kid, they were building it. So we were climbing the scaffolding and messing with the guards and everything before they even built the place. And then once it opened up, we started going there every day just to play pool, go swimming, hang out in the different shops they had. It was good
Right.
good times.
Was it a challenge, like getting along with other kids, or
For me, it was.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was about me. Probably my smart-ass attitude and personality, which I get from both of my parents. But
Right.
I can remember it was I don't know how old I was, maybe 7, 8, 9, until I was about 16. I got my ass beat every day.
Mm.
And it was always a thing in the neighborhood. Let's see who can make Duffy cry. And I'd be like, F you, you're not making me cry. They beat on me, I'd get beat up every day by gangs of people, and I'd just cuss them out and call their moms whores and shit like that. And your mom's a whore, I saw her doing this and that and the other with the neighbor the other day. And just because I wasn't letting them get the best of me. They might hurt me physically, but mentally I'd get them. And then one day I just lost my mind. I just grabbed a hold of the biggest guy that was the biggest bully, I thought, and just beat the crap out of him. And they left me alone after that. It's crazy.
Strange how we get in here and then we realize similarities
Oh, no
in
kidding.
ways we never realized before. One of the things that I've learned more recently is how painful being ostracized from your peers is. Like, as a human, like the animal human that we are, like if you peel back the layers of like the thinking us and get to a deeper level of us, we really only been like writing and communicating the way we do for maybe 20, 30, 40 generations or whatever. You finally get to a point where we're grunting at each other and
Right,
chucking spears and sticks.
right.
And but we're also not more than maybe they're peeling it back maybe 8,000 to 10,000 years before we're small bands of 100 to 150 people, and that's it. There was no
Oh, yeah.
civilization, of thousands of people. And if you get back that far and, you're a small band and you're pushed out, you're not accepted, that means death.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that means death. Well, that's imprinted in us, right? So
Yes.
it means death, or it means no procreation, no children.
Which means death,
Death,
really.
right? You know what I mean? For
Yeah.
a bunch of different reasons, right? But and they've done studies, like, from what I understand, like MRIs and studies where they've looked at like how it impacts the brain. And I'm paraphrasing here, but for people, you would rather endure physical pain
Yes.
as opposed to being pushed out.
Yeah.
So, some thought is that what you experienced, and similarly what I experienced, has an extremely deep impact to the way we process, view the world, try and escape.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, for me, I wasn't one of those people that was even really accepted in circles where people abused substances. Like,
Right.
because I was like, oh, that's the evil, you know what I mean? Like, the way I was raised, you know what I mean? Like, that's not what you do, until the time came when somebody said, hey, do you want to? And I was like, fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because here was a circle, whether they were the wretched refuse or the, you know what I mean, the rough kids, or what, just the fact that they said, hey, do you want to? I was like, yeah, like, I want to be accepted to any group,
Yeah.
even if it's, the wrong one. Beat the shit out of being alone.
Yeah, and I noticed, I think over time with me, it was like, even in that group, like you said, you felt like you weren't accepted, but you kind of trying to fit in.
So wanted to so badly.
So for me, I would always make sure I was either the class clown, or I would do the most extreme crazy shit. So they're like, oh my God, Duffy, you're crazy, man. That's awesome. Because in that way, it's like, oh, I'm over here. I'm on a pedestal of
Right.
some sort, because otherwise people didn't like me, I thought.
The pain of being invisible,
Yeah.
right? I remember being a kid, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't very, I want to say coordinated, like, especially sports coordinated. I mean,
Yeah.
I did Taekwondo because my parents took me there because they wanted me to learn some sort of self-protection skills or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I played Little League baseball, but even my my first coach was actually my mom's cousin.
Okay.
And they put me in the outfield, way the fuck far out there. You know what I mean? Because they weren't going to put me in shortstop.
I signed up for left field so that I didn't have to pay attention as much. If I heard the ball hit the bat, I go, okay, where is it?
100.
In
Oh
the
my
infield,
God,
you were going to
exactly.
hit in the infield, you get hit in the face.
They called me the dancing bear because I was out there because I had to pee. So I'd be out there going like this or whatever. And actually my mom's cousin, Marty Eckert, God bless you, Marty. Marty would be like, yo, he's out there. He's the dancing bear, because I was the same way. Like I was out there looking at the flowers and the birds and the bees and the trees until I heard that sound crack.
Yeah.
And I remember one day I heard the sound crack and I looked up and it was actually, they were just drilling balls into the, you know what I mean? And they drilled one out to me, and I wasn't paying attention. And I looked up just in time to get one in the eye. So next thing you know, they're standing over to me with one of them break and shake cold bags.
Oh, that's
you know what I
funny.
mean? Like, yeah, exactly. So the dancing bear. So, but they would have like in grade school, they would have like dodgeball.
Oh, yeah.
And they would line up like 20 kids on each side in gym class. Oh, we'll take him. Oh, we'll take him. Oh, we'll take him. Oh, we'll take him. And they get down like to the last one or two kids. Agonized.
Yeah.
Yeah, could you please just save me the embarrassment of being the last kid?
Right.
You know what I mean? And it wasn't uncommon for me to be,
Yeah.
one of the last one or two kids, and the other kid might have a impediment.
Right. Could be.
You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
like between me and the kid who, you know what I mean, is
Obviously couldn't
not
do
able to
anything.
walk,
Right.
or you know what I mean. Like, please don't pick him before me, please. Anybody,
Yeah,
pick
it's
me,
funny.
please. Funny now,
Yeah.
but at the time,
Then it's embarrassing, and then you just find other reasons to cover them feelings up.
hell yeah.
I remember being like in the same time frame of getting beat up all the time. And they used to have a game called Smear the Queer.
Okay,
Of course, you can't say that today.
right, truth. Right.
So they throw a ball or football or something to somebody, and everybody just gang tackle.
Why does that sound? That sounds familiar to me.
It'll be
That
a
sounds
gang
like-
tackling thing.
Yes.
And so, and in my mind, it was, I kept thinking, I must be the queer. Am I queer or am
Right.
I not queer?
Right.
I had a sexuality dilemma at like 9.
Right.
And I had messed around with this girl that was a neighbor in the bushes across the street from our house. And then she was good with it. I was good with it. We were the same age. And then she goes, I'm going to go home and tell my dad. And her dad was a city cop, a sergeant. So I freaked out. I'm like, holy crap. I'm getting in trouble. At 9, I got scared of girls, right? That was the first thing that scared me.
wow.
And I think from my mom beating me, I was scared of girls. And then from this girl doing that. And so from there until like 20-something, I'm like, I don't know if I'm straight, gay, this, that, or the other. I don't know, because, I mean, I like girls, but it seems like they're nothing but trouble.
Right.
And
Right.
I don't really want to go with the guys because that's like the whole gay thing, and I don't want to get beat up for that too. And I'm
Right.
not gay, and I don't really feel gay. So, I mean, whatever,
Wow.
Shit, I went to rehab. I always thought that if I did the right drugs, and if I did the right kind of sexual act, if I was gay and I did gay sex, I could do whatever drugs I wanted. I wouldn't go crazy. I made this shit up in my head. Because, we all make shit up that makes sense to us, right? And I thought, well, if I'm straight and I do straight sex, then I could do regular drugs and I'll be all right. I won't be crazy. And so I get to rehab, and the first rule, what's the first rule of rehab? No drugs. Second rule, no sex while you're here.
Right.
So the first day I'm there, I go, I just got to get my head right. I think if I guess I have to have sex with so my roommate, I'm like doing this thing with my mouth and these bubbles are coming out, right? And the guy goes, what are you doing? I go, I'm blowing bubble. He goes, hey, that's my nickname. And so he says, hey, do you want to do this or that? I go, well, whatever. And so he blows me, and I just get my mouth near his pecker, and I'm like, ooh, nasty. And I'm like, yeah, cool, that's great. And I go down to the desk, listen, I need a new room. Because I was like, and I'm telling myself, I guess I'm not gay because I wasn't down with that. Not necessarily that just having sex makes you gay.
Right.
But in my mind, that's what it was.
Well-
So then the next day, I have sex with this crazy woman that was there also for rehab, and I'm still crazy.
Right.
So first day, I put my mouth on his pecker, I'm crazy. Second day, I put my body and mind and mouth on this woman, and I'm still crazy. Day 3, I go, hey, I think I'll follow your rules now.
Right.
My way ain't working.
Right. Well, you know what? Like, it's interesting that, I'm still, I'm in my 50s, and I'm still learning, like, some people say, like, in recovery, like, you're getting back to who you are, right? And for me, I'm not really sure that I ever really knew before I got to using. Like, I never really...
You got a point, because that's why in that Rome program that we know about,
Yes.
it says find a new way of life,
Yes.
not go back to what we used to be.
Yes. And, that's been an interesting exploration in, well, first learning that, that I have value,
Okay, yeah.
right? You know what I mean? Like, because we're so, I'm going to say conditioned, you know what I mean? Like that, if in an early age you don't find acceptance from your peers, if you're not, I had acceptance at home. That was okay. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like my parents looked at me like I was a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
But as soon as I walked out the door, right, the world, and so here's the other thing too, like you're the oldest, right? So, and so was I.
Okay.
So when I went to, like kindergarten, like very, very early on, like there's levels of advancement in how other kids understand how to navigate their way through, because they come from households where the dynamic's different.
Okay.
For like, if you're like the middle kid and your older brother and sister pick on you or whatever, like you're kind of, and this is a theory to me, like you're kind of acclimated to that a little bit, like what social dynamics look like between kids. But if you show up and you're the oldest, you don't really have any frame of reference, right? So I'm going to say it was isolated, but you know what I mean? What did Pink Floyd song, I guess Mama's Gonna Build the Wall, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I was at least in part kind of isolated from, kept comfortable and safe. And then I get to like kindergarten and first grade, and it was fucking brutal.
Right.
Because these kids all had, some of them came from, much rougher childhoods than I did. Some of them came from, dynamics where they were in the middle kid or the youngest kid. And, and everybody carries that into the dynamic that they're in. So all these kids showed up at school and they were like, well, here's what you do. You pick on everybody else and I was like so fucking soft. I had no fucking idea what I was walking into. So by even like the first or the second grade, I was like, like gun shy. You know what I mean? Like I was just, fearful of and already, so it wasn't like by the time I got to the 5th or 6th or 7th or 8th grade, I was like, by that point, the imprint, the damage was in many cases, and I believe a lot, like already like well entrenched.
I found out a few years ago something interesting about that kind of thing. So growing up, like I said, I was always beat up. And then I had these two guys from different parts of my childhood that I thought were my best friends, right? I said they were my best friends. And basically they had beat me up once. And so I made them my best friend. That's one thing, right? And so then I just always hung out with them, and then they would always be picking on me and beating, doing shit to me and this and that and the other. So then I'm talking to another guy I went to elementary school with one time that I hadn't talked to in like 20 years or 30 years. He goes, well, shit, you used to always pick on me. I go, really? I tuned that out of me being a boy to somebody else. You know how they say hurt people hurt people.
Hurt people hurt people.
So I had a couple of guys that I thought, oh, these guys, I'll make them my best friend, I guess. So if I call them my best friend, then it's not really abuse, they're just my buddies. But then I ended up picking on somebody else because it had to trickle downhill somewhere.
It's strange.
And I had no idea I did that.
I think about, like, I wanted so badly to have friends, right? You know what I mean? To me, I had a couple kids in the neighborhood that I was friends with.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
But for some odd reason, like that, I'm not going to say that didn't feel like the same level of qualification as school. Like that was kind of like almost baked in. You know what I mean? Like the neighborhood kids, like we all knew each other since we were little, and there really wasn't that dynamic.
Yeah.
But as soon as I left and got on the bus and went to school, that was a whole. It was like,
I get it.
Yeah, that was that was like the Coliseum.
My brother that's 2 years younger than myself and me.
Right.
We had some neighbors, a couple like a block and a half down on the other side of the street, that were 2 years apart. Right about our age, within a year of our ages. And so we always did stuff together. We were like friends. We basically were friends for sneaking out at night. 3 o'clock in the morning, we'd always make these plans to do these missions. Sneak out at night and go to the golf course and steal golf balls out of the pond or hide from the cops or do this or that. Or sometimes, one time we had a mission where one of the neighbors was being an a-hole. And so we decided we're going to collect all these rocks, climb up on the garage porch near his house, and throw them all in his backyard. So when he did the lawn, he'd fucking throw rocks through his windows. But that was the two guys of our whole neighborhood that we hung out with. But we, other than that, we never hung out like during the day or anything. Just our missions. It was super weird.
Well, fantasy.
Yeah.
You know, just the fantasy of having, not only just having friends, but being seen having friends.
Yeah, and that whole thing was a fantasy. The missions, and we're doing
Yes,
this, or hiding
exactly.
from the cops.
But like you said, like during the day, we didn't hang. You know what I mean? Like there was no hanging. So I remember, like I would come home from school, and somebody who said something to me, like even if it was like just in passing, any kind of conversation at all. I remember coming home and telling my father and my mother, I was like, oh, my friend, fill in the blank.
All right.
And I remember my father saying to me, you know, Jimmy, and my mom said to me too at one point, Jimmy, they're not friends, they're acquaintances. And I pushed back, like, what do you mean they're not friends? And they're like, do you know, like, what their, have you ever been to their house?
Yeah,
do you know
right.
what their parents are? And I'd be like, no. And they were like, well, Jimmy, they're not friends.
Yeah, I
they're
thought
friends.
if we just hung out and played wiffle ball, we were all friends.
Yes, yes. And but the problem is that when you're that starved, right, when you feel that way, then you tend to slide people into your life that would, one, mean you harm, right? Like those kids that you talked about that, you know, beat
right.
you up, but
My
you're
friends.
still your friends.
Yeah.
Or on the other side, at the very minimum, don't see a need to protect you or see, you know. And so, you know, one of the things that came out of a deeper step process for me was really seeing that, okay, I remember, and I've had him in here, you know what I mean, like Rich B. I remember being relatively new in recovery and setting up chairs for a meeting and saying to him, you know, Rich, where do you get self-esteem? And he'd be like, by doing esteemable things. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
Right.
But if you won't protect yourself, like the fights I got into, I wouldn't fight back. And when they knew I wouldn't fight back, they came at me harder. Right? You know what I mean? Like it was like, you know, and really in the end, it was, you know, for whatever reason, that very, very early on in life was taught me that maybe I'd convinced myself that I wasn't worth fighting for. You know what I mean? Like not seeing the value in me.
Okay.
So, you know, so a lot of the process for me, recovery process, was like literally like slowly going through the process of peeling back the layers to see that like I did, that I was valuable, that I did bring value to the table. And the funny thing is that like, you know, like how we build our lives, you know what I mean? In a lot of ways is compensation for, you know, a lot of that, you know what I mean? Like, you know, when I'm on the other side, well, you'll see whoever they is, like nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, right.
Like what my life is like now or what I've achieved or accomplished, you know what I mean? Like, but in my head,
right.
you know what I mean? I'm still in some ways, you know, working through that process of seeing that, you know what I mean? That I'm worth fighting for. And even into adulthood, like I had news, like when I was, you know, going through my first divorce, you know what I mean? And my ex-old lady was kicking my ass every chance she got. And you know why? Because I
wouldn't fight.
You know what I mean? And, you know, what did they say? Absolute power corrupts absolutely, right? You know what I mean? So the more she realized that I would not, you know, would not put up a fight, the more emboldened she got. And, boy, how valuable would it be to have that information or that not? You know what? Like, I'm so grateful for the gift of desperation that brought me to, you know what I mean? Because, you know, we think that, you know, all I just got to do is just get away from substances. If I can get away from the drugs and the alcohol, I'll be okay. You know what I mean? Only to realize that there was a much deeper issue.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the issue was really me.
Yes.
And Wow. Powerful conversation, especially when you realize the commonality in many of our stories. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
when you realize that, really in a
But
way.
the digger we deep, the more we find it we're more alike than different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're at this point. So where was the time when somebody showed up with the first substance and you realized there was another level of escape that you could?
It's hard to say. I think, yeah, well, shoot, I remember I was probably 13 or something,
Right.
stealing liquor from the kitchen cabinet. And my parents didn't drink.
Okay.
My dad was a reformed alcoholic, I guess. My
Right.
mom said when I was about 6, she told him, "You stop drinking or me and the kids are out of here." And he stopped.
Yeah.
So he was a dry drunk. Hence his anger issues. But so like so I'm 12 or 13. I guess, well, actually, first thing was probably cigarettes.
Okay.
We would all steal cigarettes from our parents' house, and we'd meet down the creek.
What brand they smoke? You
My
remember?
mom smoked these nasty Bel Airs. Like, every time I took a puff of them things, I get constipated. And my dad smoked Cools.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But it's like, oh, Jesus. Everybody would steal some cigarettes, or each of us would get a pack. We'd take them down the woods. We'd get I don't even know if we had Ziploc bags back then. Probably not. But we'd put them in some sort of baggie and hide them in the woods. So they were even going to be stale when we got to them next time,
Right.
And we'd
Right.
just get down there and just smoke the crap out of them and choke and gag. And then it was like getting liquor from under the cabinet. And like I said, parents didn't drink. So we'd take liquor and water. Water. Drink the liquor, fill it back up to the line with water. So the people that came over probably were thinking our parents were cheap asses. They watered down their alcohol, Because the other people in the neighborhood drank. And then we would be hanging out by the liquor store and get the people to get us the Boone's Farm Run. And then we graduate to Mad Dog 2020.
My father found out he was type 1 diabetic at the age about a couple years younger than him. So he would bartend for other people. Like, we had a bar in the house, but he didn't drink.
He didn't. Okay.
He didn't drink. So, well, I would drink his alcohol. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, but probably about the same age, maybe 13, 14 was about the time when, we started experimenting. My friends would come over, and we had a full badass bar in the basement. And, the whole, there was probably a couple 100 gallons worth of alcohol down there of all different types.
That's
you know
crazy.
What I mean? Like Seagram 7 and VO and, you know what I mean, different kinds of vodka. And, you know what I mean? Like everything. And,
Canadian Club.
Actually, so my dad worked, one of the things he did was he worked as a biotech at Merck.
Okay.
So he was, he had a high school education, but had gotten to the point
Got trained
where
at Merck.
got trained to do all this stuff. And one of the things they did was they made pure grain alcohol. And when I say pure, they used it to sterilize the vats when they made vaccines.
Right.
So he would smuggle some of that home, right? And it was pure grain. And he would order from the local food distributor, like a gallon jar of maraschino cherries.
Okay.
And he would take the lid off the maraschino cherries and dump like half the juice and put pure grain in it, fill it back up, and put the lid on it and stick it underneath the bar, and it would sit. And it was so strong that the cherries would bleach themselves like almost clear.
That's wild.
Like you would pull a cherry out and look at it, and you could almost see through the cherry, right? And they call them cherry bombs.
Okay.
So, so he would be bartending at Christmas for all the people to come over, and he'd be mixing your drink, and he'd throw a cherry bomb on it. And it was like a big talk of the town. Like everybody's like, you gotta eat one of these cherry bombs. So my friends would come over, and I'd be like, yo, have one of these cherries.
Yeah, right.
And you talk about get rocked. You would get destroyed. You eat a couple cherries, like, getting shot at pure grain. And, but there was one of those things where, you know what I mean? Like, not only just getting acceptance from participating in what others were doing, but being a supplier of.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're the
like,
man.
Oh, fuck yeah, man. People come over and be like, oh, your mom and dad are out for a little while? I'll be like, yeah. I'll be like, well, you got up in here. Oh, shit. Let me get some of that. And, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, I used to, I started working when I was 15. Well, other than paperboy,
Right.
But I worked at McDonald's from the time I was 15 to 18.
Okay.
And when I first started working there, within 6 months, when we were closing up at night, because I worked a lot of weekend nights, I get the manager to go down to the liquor store a block away and gets a quart of like Seagrams or something,
Right.
or 7-Up or whatever, and a pint of whiskey, and I'd dump it in there, and I'd be mopping the floor, getting all drunk. And honestly, I hated drinking there because every time I would drink to the point that I wanted to be effed up, I'd get sick.
Right.
And so then I was working there. I mean, this place was a major drug trafficking place too.
Right.
Heroin, weed, everything was getting sold right around where I worked at the McDonald's Ellesmere there. And I managed to work there for about a year, and I didn't use anything other than the alcohol because everybody in the parking lot's always, here, you want some of this? You want some of this? You want some of this? And then so finally, a summer of ninth grade, I ended up smoking weed with some guys from school. And then from summer of ninth grade on, it was a keep going full tilt.
Yeah, it's funny. Like right around the same time too, in Conshohocken, there's the main drag where I'm from. Conshohocken, there's a main drag they call Fayette Street, and there was a 7-Eleven that where we all used to hang out, play video games or whatever.
Yeah,
and
right.
then right across the street there was a church, and one day these kids were gonna go behind the church and smoke a joint.
Right.
And they were like, "Yo, you want to come?" And I was like, oh, hell yeah. You know what I mean? Like anything, you're going to invite me? Remember
Right.
what I said in dodgeball, right? So here I am, right? And they're all passing this joint. And I'm like, man, I smell weed before. This weed smells funny. So I'm toking on it. And I'm like,
shit.
this weed smells funny. And one of the kids said, it's dusted. And I'm like, so my first joint was laced with dust.
Yeah, he went hard.
Yeah, I
right
went
out of the
real
gate.
hard right out of the gate. So, but, it's...
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's anything just to be part of,
Yeah.
right? Anything just to be part of. So now, you finished school, right? What did you end up doing? Work? Like where did you?
So the reason I started working at McDonald's is because of the sports.
Right.
I never ended up playing. I was always a
Right.
tackle dummy or practice guy. So because the coaches were always parents of the kids on the team and this and that.
Right.
I'm like, well, I'm not trying out for all these sports things in grade school or high school and never playing. I'll just get a job. And then I went to college for a couple of years,
Okay.
U of D,
Okay.
and I managed to get through like 3 semesters without failing. But the fourth one, I just couldn't. I got a thing in the mail that said, you're going to get an F if you don't withdraw. So I withdrew without failure because I never went to class. I might have went to 18 classes in 3 semesters or 4
Wow.
semesters, but I ended up having at least like a 1.8 GPA,
Right.
not even going to class. But because I was going down there to get high because that's where you got high then back in the day.
Well, that's strange because this experience is so strangely similar. I went to art college, and the first thing that happened was, so the thing about all the way through high school was, and I come to find that as I got older, like maybe junior and senior year, like I look back at my yearbook or talk to other people, and they saw me in a better light than I saw myself. Right? Like they didn't see me. Like I actually have a friend of mine, we talk all the time, and he's like, I thought you were one of the popular kids. He said, and I
Right.
was like, yeah, I thought you were like, you
That's
know what I mean?
funny.
Like both of us were, in the same boat, but looked at each other as the one that was accepted. So, but I went to art college at University of the Arts in Philly. And literally and I turned 18 like a week into my freshman year in college. Like they actually had to sign some paper because I was like 17 or something so that I could
Oh, okay.
And I lived at the school. So, but I remember my first thought was, these kids don't know who I am. Like I'm not carrying the history of who I was before I got here.
Right.
So it was like this strange clean slate where it was like nobody knew who I was and I could reinvent myself right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first thought was, well, what am I going to be known for?
Right.
Right? And colleges have sports teams and all that. Art colleges only have one team. and that's the We Get High team.
Okay. Yeah.
That's it. You know what I mean? Like, that is the sport, right? There was no.
It makes sense.
Yeah, there was no. That was the only thing that everybody did. So, I mean, I was like, probably, a week into college, and all we did all of a sudden was smoke weed constantly, and all we did, and then, the dead came, and now I'm dropping liquid and paper acid, and you know what I mean, like, and, it's 3:00 in the morning on Broad Street in Philadelphia. I got a 35mm camera taking pictures of pregnant hookers and talking to their Johns and shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm some white kid from Conshohocken who just turned 18, and I'm out there like, you know what I mean? Like,
keeping it real.
Yeah, with a camera, and they're like, "Get out of here, kid!" And I'm like, "Yeah, but hold on, I'm taking pictures." And like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm lucky I didn't get smacked with a brick.
Yeah, you're right.
But it was just an opportunity to reinvent myself as somebody who could have some level of social acceptability, right? But I still was carrying all that luggage of not being accepted and not having any value. So I think one of the things that, like, is the opposite of self-esteem is to get high, right? Like, because it's really, ultimately, it's like a betrayal of the body and the mind, right? Like,
running away from reality.
Yes, and you're beating on yourself. So it would be like, if you like ate good food and worked out and all those things, then that would be like, treating your body right, which is telling yourself you have value.
Right.
And when you're a garbage head like me,
right,
you're 100% the opposite of that. Like, what you're really telling your body and your mind is, I don't give a fuck about me.
Right.
Right. And I sent myself that signal, and then it compounded year after year as it got worse. Right. And then, like, let's face it, like, when you're not facing yourself and you're getting high a lot, your decision-making prowess is in the fucking can. So as years compounded, it got worse and worse.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure if you experienced the same thing, but you know what I mean? Like by the time I was in my, so I ended up in the military because I was like, I gotta get out of here. It was just a matter of time.
It was out of jail.
Yeah, it was out of jail. It was going to be a matter of time until I got busted.
Right.
And then the judge told me, jail or whatever, or I just went in. So I just kind of sensed that the time was coming. And then they were like, immediately, the first thing they were like, well, listen, they have a zero tolerance policy. And by 1990, if you pop positive once for drugs, it was like basically you were going to get, you were going to get booted out. So, but alcohol is a drug, right? And
but that was all right.
Oh, so I switched to alcohol and pussy.
That's right.
That was it. You know what I mean? Like, now it was like, okay, I can't do all, and Lord knows, like, if they gave you 30 days of leave, I was immediately getting a bag of chronic. I was immediately, right, like all the other drugs were immediate because, and weed was the first one that you had to have because it took 30 days to get pot out of your system.
Okay.
So it was like the first thing I was getting was a bag of weed. You know what I mean? Like, the other things were going to be out of your system in a couple days.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Cocaine was like 3 or 4 days or whatever, but they didn't do hair follicle tests or anything like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure you had a schedule and a plan.
Oh, so at the squadron, they had dice, and they would roll dice, and depending on what the numbers came up on the dice were determined on the last digit of your Social Security number.
Who got tested?
And who didn't. So it was quite literally a roll of the dice.
That's crazy.
And I still to this day, I'm close to guys I was served with, who they rolled the dice, and it was either you got in trouble and it triggered an automatic test.
Oh, yeah.
Or you got randomly tested based on a roll of the dice. So there were a lot of guys that got... I remember, and I think I talked about this once before, even on the show. I remember I'd been in the squadron for about a year. 2 guys came back on cruise. They came back from Western Pacific. And I'm standing in the locker room, climbing into my uniform to go work on these helicopters, and and the two lockers for two guys were on both sides of me. These guys were coming back from the fleet. I was the new guy, and I heard one guy snorting, and the other guy was like, "Yo, let me get some of that." And I'm like, and they were snorting rails of meth
Right.
before they went and worked on the helicopter, and I was like, they were like, "Yo," they called me Dino. Dino, you want to get in on that? And I was like, and go work on a helicopter? Like, one thing I thought was, if that helicopter crashes, everybody who works on it's getting tested.
Yeah, right.
So somebody dies, and you're going to be the guy.
You're in trouble.
Right? So I was like, oh, no thanks. You know what I mean? Like, but fuck. You know, like it was still, and one of those guys specifically came back off a cruise, and he stopped, his wife stopped responding to his mail. So he got back and he took his key and he went to his and his bank account. We tried to get money out of his bank. His bank account was empty. So he goes and he goes try to put the key in the door thing, and he opens up the door. There's this big black dude come to the door.
That's funny.
And said, yeah, and he was like, he was ready to fight the guy. And the guy said, what the fuck are you doing here? And the dude said, I don't know what you're talking about. I signed a lease like 3 months ago. I've been living here.
Oh shit.
Here, his old lady stopped, emptied his bank account, moved out.
Boat.
Right? And didn't even tell him. So he literally went to his place to find out his key didn't work out in the door. And the reality of it was a whole other family had moved in there.
Yeah, that's nuts.
So you've been clean now 30, how many years?
Hold on. 46 years and 7 months.
What? I thought you were...
My clean date's November 28, 1979.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I don't talk about it. The only time I say it is when people ask me. And it's almost embarrassing. It isn't embarrassing, but it's a weird feeling. Like, it just seems ridiculous to me.
That you've been clean that long?
Yeah. It's
Wow.
just nuts, man. And then I think about other stuff, like you were talking about your going into the military, and I think about my whole progression. Because the very last day I got high, I couldn't get enough in me to stop thinking, right? Before it worked. This day it didn't work anymore. I was sniffing, shooting, drinking. Every way I could possibly get it in my body, I was loading up, and it wasn't stopping my brain from going crazy. And it just kept talking about, you were in school and your school went downhill, and then you were in work and your jobs went downhill. Because I was, like I said, I worked at McDonald's for 4 years. I was scared to quit because I thought my dad would beat my ass, so I just stayed there 4 years. And then when I was at school at university, they had a posting for UPS. I could get it. I was making $2.45 an hour at McDonald's as a swing manager, or I could get a job for $6.82 loading trucks at UPS at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? Down in Wilmington. I'm like, no brainer. I go there 3:30, 8:30 in the morning, and then I go to school, and then but the problem is I go to work, I go to school, and when I get to school, I just go straight to Christiana Towers, which was where the party was, and I just partied the whole time. Once in a while, I go to classes, and so it just kept changing. And then I kept showing up late for the UPS job there. Like, if you're late one more time, we're going to fire you, or you can quit. I go, I quit. So I got a job working at a chain link fence company. I'm like, this is great. I can smoke weed all day. Nobody gets a damn. And we did get high all day. And then I worked there for a couple of years until the guy told me he was going to give me a raise, and I got my paycheck, and it wasn't in it. And he goes, I don't have to give you a raise, and I don't. I go, I don't have to work here, and I don't. Later, asshole. And I went from that job to a job working at a roofing company.
Right.
And then I worked there for like 2 years, but after about a year, I went to rehab, and then I stayed clean after that. But it's like, holy shit. I just kept going.
So you were young.
Oh, I was 21.
21 years old.
I ended up in state hospital of overdose from killer weed, which was dust, basically,
Right.
and bombing fluid on parsley. You know, the old pagan special. Me and the guy bought an ounce, and we split it, and I ended up smoking my whole half ounce in one night. And I was dusted for months without doing anything. And then I ended up in state hospital for 3 weeks detoxing. I could smell the embalming fluid coming out my pores. Then I got out, and I got high again for like the next 9 months. And then I went to rehab, and like I had enough, man.
Wow.
Nothing ever happened before I went to state hospital. I never got arrested, never got in any real trouble except with my parents. I go to state hospital, I get out, I start getting high again. Next thing you know, every other weekend or every other week I'm going to detox. Like I'd be at work, I'd be like, yo, dude, I'm out of here. They go, what are you talking about? I go, you're cooking the tar for the roof. I go, I can't deal with this right now. I'll be in detox for 3 days. Bye. I'll be back on Thursday.
Wow.
So I did that for like at least once a month. And then I get high and I run my mouth with the cops. They smack me with the billy club, put me in the back seat and take me downtown for the overnighters.
Wow.
One time I was in detox bitching about, I'm not taking these pills. I want to see the psychiatrist. They said, oh, you want to see a psychiatrist? All right. So they put the straitjacket on me, took me to the state hospital for 3 days.
Wow.
Had enough of that kind of life.
So that brings me to interesting thoughts about like what early recovery must have been like for you, because there wasn't much of a, so it must have only been Liquid Fellowship was around at that
There was
point,
one
right?
meeting in Delaware. It was called, well, there was two. One was kind of an AA meeting started by AA people and some bikers from Philly and a couple guys in AA down here. It was on a Wednesday night. It was kind of like a weird meeting, but it was there. And then there was a Tuesday night meeting called Delaware Step. It used to be the longest running meeting, but after COVID, they stopped meeting.
They stopped meeting.
But that was the only meeting in Delaware, and I just went there religiously. There was at least 5 people that I knew that went there. Ray T, you might have heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
He moved to South Carolina or someplace, but him and his brother both were active in the Philadelphia region area. John Farrell, he passed away, so I can use his last name now. He was down here. He was in college to be an English teacher, ends up becoming an Episcopal minister. And he moved up into Philly area and was doing stuff up there.
What did you say? Jail to Yale. We said that.
Yeah, we said
from
from jail to Yale, right?
Right.
But yeah, there's so many varying different people now. And it's
Right.
so funny because my first years, I've always been the guy around that has the most clean time in the area for some reason.
Right. Well,
The other
you've been
5
around-
people kind of dispersed.
when you've been around this long.
Yeah,
Right. You know
but-
what I mean? Like,
Shit, I can remember when I had like 5 years, and then there was all these kids that were coming in. They're 16, 17, 18 years old, and all they're talking about the meetings is their homework and their parents and this, that, and the other. And I'm like thinking to myself, well, deal with reality, man. I got a job and a real life. What's you talking about? But that was their reality, you know?
right.
But it's
Right.
funny how everybody was super young, and they look at me. I had like 5 years, and I was like God or whatever to them. I'm like, no, just another effed up person that just found a way out. I mean, we would go to meetings in media a lot. That's where I met Bill O, and we used to go to Region, where I participated as a RCM, and I was literature chair for the region for a while. So I met Al R and Henry D, and what's his name that just passed away. They had this, can't remember, Steve. That used to wear the cap, and he was in a wheelchair for a while of late. But this is way back in the 80s, mostly 80s and 90s, of heavy participation in the Philadelphia region. Because when Delaware was a meeting,
Right.
we went to Philadelphia area, which was
Right.
at Church on the Mall.
Yeah.
And then
And
Philadelphia
that
became a
celebrated
region.
What? That's been there. Well, it's
Well,
not there anymore.
just ended, right?
But over 50 years.
It was called, because at first it was called Sobriety First, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's Recovery First.
Mm-hmm.
I know Kurt from up there. And I like going up there because for the anniversary, I always forget in March,
Right.
because there's always at least 10 or 15 guys that have more clean time than me.
Mm.
Makes me feel small, which I like.
Well, the funny thing is that, my sponsor and a couple other guys, you know what I mean? Like, I think they're, once you get, like, into the 30s, 40s, you know what I mean? Like, it's, the ranks get thin.
Yeah, you're
And,
probably right, because people stop coming. They get comfortable, I think, or they pass away.
You know what? Like, it's funny how, like, we have these conversations and it really calibrates, you know what I mean? Like, our we get to a little bit of a deeper understanding about who the people are that we're around, that we don't even really Like I knew you've been clean for a long time, but I didn't know you've been clean that fucking long.
Yeah.
And that's, and frankly,
I'll be perfectly honest. I'm happy that you didn't, because that means that I'm not spouting it off.
Right.
Because I can't stand it when I go to places and people are just bragging about their clean time.
What? Like, okay, so the funny thing is, I remember when Rich B celebrated 40. And to me, it was like, and that was, 7
years ago.
6 years ago, whatever. And he was like, listen, I'm going to have this person speak who has 3 years. I'm just going to sit at the table. And I was like, get the fuck out of here.
They did that. They did that at that anniversary for that meet group.
Yes.
One time I was up there.
I was like, how is that even?
Interesting.
You got 4 decades. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? And it was like.
Well, you know what it is, too? Sometimes, a lot of times a newcomer can't relate to somebody that's got 40 years, but they can relate to somebody that's got 30 days or 3 years.
To me, it was almost an inconceivable level of humility that I really couldn't get my head around.
It does seem crazy.
Now I see it. Even with, we'll have 13 years in November. And, and even now, like, in my home group, like, I'm the guy that everybody looks to. Me and one other guy, we've been cleaner, a long time. And, and people look at me like that's like really substantial clean time. Mm-hmm. And I think to myself, like it is, but I always tend to look at people who
not compared to.
Yes, exactly. And you know what? And I'm just so thankful that you stayed.
Yeah, me too, bro.
Yeah, I'm so thankful that you stayed for a bunch of different reasons, like your involvement in the fellowship and keeping.
I try to stay
going.
busy because I'm afraid if I don't, I know what'll happen. Because I've seen other people disappear. And I had my moments like around 1990-ish where how it says in our book we kind of get pulled out of here of religious zeal.
Yeah.
I had that because I got born again, which was nothing wrong with that.
Mm.
And
of course not.
Mostly I was chasing tail that was born again, so I'm like, me too. Let me get some of that born again stuff.
Right.
But and then other different things, and then I got lazy and I lived my life according to what was on in a TV guide from 8 to 11.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And but then I started noticing the less I went to meetings, the more my attitude suffered.
Mm.
And then I had a friend that used to call me all the time about once a month. So-and-so is celebrating an anniversary. Are you going to come to the meeting? So I go to a meeting, it's an anniversary. Then I go to another meeting, and it's an anniversary. Then I go to another meeting, it's an anniversary. After a while, you get sick of just going to anniversary meetings because it's not. Sometimes it's a regular, sometimes it's a blow smoke up your ass meeting. And I'm not big about the blow the smoke meetings.
Anniversary meetings tend to be a lot about celebrating the person that's in the chair.
Right.
Right. And what I think gets lost in those type of environments is celebrating the recovery for the newcomer.
That's that too.
And
I noticed that it's funny, over the years I'd look online about different things a lot, and I found something, I think it was Iran years ago, because they'll have these meetings in tents where there's 10,000 people, right? In a fucking tent in the desert, right? Mm-hmm. And they don't, I think it's Iran, I could be wrong, it could be somewhere else, but somewhere over there in the Far East, that it's they don't celebrate clean time. Of course, they accumulate clean time, but they have a big celebration when somebody goes through the 12 steps. When they've done the 12 steps, they have a party, which is a good way of thinking about it.
I fucking like it.
It's cool as shit, I think, because nobody ever talks about that crap anymore. Back in my early days, if you came up on somebody at a meeting or somewhere else, hey, what's going on, man? How you doing? What step you working on?
Yeah.
I'm on 6 right now. I'm still waiting to meet with my sponsor. I spoke with him yesterday. I was trying to hook up with him this week. He's busy. I'll see him next week. And obviously, it ain't my first time around this rodeo. I forget how many times I've been through.
Is still writing for you, or
I do. I write. Mm-hmm. This is my second time through the Step Working God book. I went through it once with my other sponsor that I had before this sponsor who passed away. Mm-hmm. And, he even told me when I was doing that, he goes, you can answer all the questions, you can answer some of the questions, it doesn't really matter. I go, well, dude, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it right. So if I got somebody coming up under me and I tell them, and they say they want to use a step working guide, I'll be like, well, read the basic
That's
text,
what my
read it where it
sponsor
sound
said.
why,
He said, you know,
answer the questions.
and my sponsor said, I said, why do you work? Because so I had like 2 or 3 years clean. And one of the guys who was one of the top addiction counselors on East Coast relapsed. Right. And he was actually my sponsor's arch nemesis. They butted heads all the time.
Right.
So he came back, he got involved in the home group. And to me, even though he had used and came back, he was like, you know, he had a lot of juice.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me to sponsor him,
Okay.
which was kind of weird. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because I was like a new guy. And, you know, but then the way he wanted to work the step process was not the way that I was.
Okay.
Because I was working flat book. Because
Right.
I'm a flat book. I got here with the flat book.
Right.
So I was jammed up because I was like, I'm trying to suggest to him the way we should do this thing. And
Mhm.
then he was like, well, why can't we just sit down and talk about it? And so I went to my sponsor and said, what the fuck?
Right.
What are we supposed to do? And he was like, well, ask him how that worked out for him before. And I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't have the fucking juice to say that to him.
Yeah.
Like, for real, for real.
Well,
I
it's
didn't.
like, did you ask me to be your
Yes,
sponsor?
but then again, you've got to wonder whether or not he selected me to be, his
to
sponsor.
think it might be easy or something.
Easier because he had juice.
Right.
And so I asked Al, I said, well, why do you work the flat book? And he said, to remain relevant.
Okay, there you go.
And I
Yeah,
was
and you know
like,
what else too? I also we even started a group that was a step study group. We do the basic text, we do the work sound why, and we do the step study guide, and we would study the book, but we wouldn't answer the questions. We just study the
right, like the
composition.
Sunday morning meeting.
yeah,
does
similar
that.
to that.
Yes, yeah,
but
okay.
but it would be more like this.
Right.
We would read, and after a couple, if somebody said a word wrong, we correct them. We read the definition.
Okay.
Or if somebody had a question about anything, we'd stop, we'd just talk about it. So it took forever to get through it, but that was fine. Because I found a lot of people just didn't understand a lot was in the step study guide. Or
Right.
they kept saying, well, they're asking the same question over and over and over again. I go, well, let me see. And I read through it, and I found they may be asking a similar question, or they're asking a question in different directions.
Right.
Just like with I think it's after at the fourth step, it says, is there anything in your fourth step that you haven't written down yet?
Yeah.
Well,
There's brilliance in that two different ways. One is that slight differential in the way things are worded tend to draw things out.
Yes.
And the other thing too is we're literally evolving through us, even in a single step. We're changing
Yeah.
as we're. So even though the question is similar,
yeah.
we're different.
And it says right in our literature, we're looking for a different perspective on our lives.
Right.
So there we are. We're looking at it from different perspectives, right? They're trying to hit it from all angles so you don't miss anything, so you don't have an excuse down the road. Oh, well, I held on to one resentment.
Well, I'll tell you, there is no question the thoroughness.
It's
of
definitely a hell of a lot easier than just sitting down and writing and coming up with stuff.
well.
But it's a lot of work still.
So here's what I sponsor a football team full of guys. Like I got a bunch of guys, right? And in all various phases of in this thing, partially in this thing, barely in this thing, MIA.
As
Like,
most
you know
of
what I
it,
mean? Like,
as it
exactly.
always works, right?
But I tell guys when we first get started, like I ain't the fucking Tony Robbins of the fellowship. You
There
know
you
what I'm
go.
saying? If you want to work this thing, work this thing. If you want to work this thing, don't work this thing. But if you're looking for somebody to hold you accountable, I'm not the guy.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I got a guy right
I got
now.
time for that.
He asked me to sponsor him, I don't know, about 2 years ago. We got together like twice, went over step work. And then he got busy with life, his work, his wife, he's getting
Right.
married, this and that. And then a couple months ago, he's like, well, I really need somebody to push me. And like, I'm off on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and can you get a hold of me then, and this and that and the other. And I said, well, you know what? And I'm thinking to myself, that's really not my style of sponsorship.
Right.
Pushing people, giving assignments, doing this and that. But whatever. I'll see what I can do. I even put it in my calendar reminders. Contact such and such, Tuesday, Thursday, and I just don't do it. Just
Right.
because
It's not the
Because I'm
way I
thinking-
chase.
I'm
It's
just-
not the way I chase the substance.
Yeah, I'm going to be like,
Yeah.
I'm going to get a hold of him shortly. Tell him, look, hey, you need to get new sponsors because I'm obviously not the guy because I'm not going to push you. If you want recovery, you got to chase it. I'm not going to fucking force it down your throat
Well, you
because
know,
it ain't going to work if I keep pushing you to do shit.
it's. I also realize that people are on a timeline that they're on.
Right.
Like I got a guy who's been working the fourth for like fucking 3 years.
Right.
Can help me, you know what I mean? Like it's just been.
Yeah, gung ho in the beginning and then
Yeah, and it's
interest.
like, but you know, we'll talk about it, and we're going to eventually get to getting it done. But this thought that I got after it because, I mean, honestly, because of ego. Because people were sitting around talking about this step process, and I was like, "Durr, like, what are you talking about?" You know what I mean?
Right.
So there was part of me that was like, I didn't want to be the guy who didn't understand what everybody was talking about, and to me, it was almost like some level of rank. You know what I mean? Aside from, and you know what? And from a clean time perspective, I didn't have very much, but I saw people that had a lot of clean time that didn't have a process.
Right.
So I was like, well, I can't get clean time faster.
Right.
Right? You know what I mean? Like that's, but obviously like significance is a defect that I have feeling less significant. So
Right.
how could I gain more significance? Well, I can at least get some knowledge about this whole process thing that they're talking about. You know what I mean? And then what ended up happening was that exact thing that I worked because of ego helped me with my ego.
Oh, there you go.
You know what I mean? Like it's, the
Yeah, you
thing
wanted
that-
significance, and then you found self-acceptance.
Yes,
and,
yes,
and other things throughout it.
So, but I mean, that's my journey, and and I've been through a 12, and I work a 10 almost every day. I try to every day. And I, prayer and meditation in the morning. I do that piece, every day. I journal every day. I haven't gone back through the 12 again yet. You know what I mean? Like, I've talked to Spons about it, and he was like, why the fuck would you do that?
Yeah, I mean,
It's
some
like,
people have different approaches.
yeah, you know what I mean? So I'm like,
Some people cycle through it. They do the steps, they do traditions, do concepts, whatever, and then they also go back through the 12 steps, which sometimes, or sometimes you may get to a point in your life where maybe I need to do a 4-step on relationships, or maybe I need to do a 4-step on me buying shit all the time.
Right. I don't really know. I know that.
Because sometimes the 10th step doesn't cover it, because
Right.
it's a little deeper than that.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
But I know in the other program they used to say that the 10, 11, 12 were maintenance steps.
Right. And that's
The first 3 were this, and then the meat,
I
and then
stay.
the
I stay in
other
that.
3.
I'm still 9 in it all day long.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there'll be plenty of. That'll never end. You know what I mean?
Just keep adding to the list.
I live in 1, 2, and 3 to the best of my ability every day. You know what I mean? Like
Which I do take what they said. I heard from the other program also for 1, 2, and 3 is I can't, he can, I think I'll let him.
Right.
That's a good saying.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to be
Well,
different programs.
we stand on the shoulders of giants, and that includes
Yes.
the Liquid Fellowship for sure. I remember being down in D.C. For the convention, and
Okay.
there was like a big, like almost like a museum that they had set up that had all kinds of stuff. And
Oh, okay.
Included was a letter.
Oh, from
that
Bill
came
W.
Were from I don't know if it was actually Bill, but it was the letter authorizing the fellowship that we're in to
adapt
use
the
the
12
literature
steps and
and
12
right,
traditions.
yes, and I thought that was it was like inside a glass case.
It is
or
cool
whatever. I
because
thought
it is
that's
history.
badass.
I like shit like that. That's why I go online and look stuff up all the time, and I
Yeah.
study different things. And like with Jimmy, they did a whole bunch of the literature, and
Right.
Greg P. and how Jimmy had asked Bill if they could use their the saying about I'm responsible. When somebody reaches out for the hand, I'm responsible. However it goes, I forget how it goes. And Jimmy wanted to use that, and Bill said no. So Jimmy wrote the gratitude prayer. So it's cool. Because I believe a lot of stuff that he wrote was inspired too. Just like the stuff that Bill and Bob wrote.
Yeah, it's clearly a
It's
power
just-
greater than you working through you.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Almost like channeling,
And it's cool. He was a roofer. I was a roofer.
right? Hard work, man. Roofers work
Yeah,
hard.
it is nuts work.
Roofers work hard. You still working to this day, aren't you? Like
I'm,
Do like more contract work?
Yeah,
or-
general contracting. We're
Right.
getting ready to start a bathroom remodel Monday.
Hmm.
I'm pretty much the helper. It's myself and my brother.
Okay.
We for 40 years or whatever you want to call it. We were 25 in business together. We were both mechanics. Now I'm kind of like can't hang, man. Too damn old.
Hmm. Well, you
My
know
main
what? Like,
my main tool is my chair. I take to work with me.
check it out. It's Craftsman.
Yeah,
I got this.
I got to sit down
I got this snap-on.
I can work for a half an hour or something. I sit down for 5 minutes. My feet and my back don't hurt, and I get back up and go. And otherwise, I can last for about 2 hours. I'm done for the whole day.
Well,
But I'm 68 years old, for Pete's sake.
Well,
Never thought
so
I'd get this old.
There's a thought there because,
I like working.
well, and being useful is
Yeah.
one. You know, staying active. You know what I mean? Is another. I mean, there's certainly benefits to that. And being challenged.
Yeah, keeps my mind busy.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I often think that, you know, I could reach a point where working's not really a necessity. In some ways that kind of exists for me now, but I've got like all these cool shit I'm doing.
Yeah.
I mean, including this, you know what I mean? Like,
You're
this
right, you
is-
got a million irons in the fire, so you're not going to sit around and do nothing.
No. And, you know, and
Plus, I
often
see
think,
people
like,
that do retire and they sit around and do nothing. Like 6 months, they're dead.
yes. And I'm like, fuck all that. You know what I
yeah.
mean? There's plenty of stuff for me to do, and I'm always trying new things. And you know what I mean? Like,
And I ain't a golfer.
right. Yeah. I have golf clubs.
I tried
and
it. I did
I
it before.
suck.
I went
I
to
suck
driving
hard.
range a couple times. It's just like it's too late in my game to try to get that hand-eye coordination.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's a game that a game of frustration.
I mean, it'd be cool to walk for the exercise. That's about it.
Yeah.
If I made it through 18.
And that's the last thing in the world I'm doing. The only walking I'm doing is back and forth from the cart to wherever my ball landed,
That's
and
great.
then back to the cart again.
Yeah.
We were out playing. Took him out for the first time. We fucking laughed our asses off. We both hit a ball. His ball sitting in the fairway. Probably one of the few times his ball was sitting in the fairway. and we're in the cart rolling up to it, and this fox comes running out. I was telling my best friend about it yesterday. This fox comes running out and comes over and stands by his ball. So we pulled over and we were laughing about how this fox was standing by the ball, and then he ran over, and then the fox went like this. And actually took his teeth and put it around the ball like he was going to pick it up and run off with
That's
it.
hilarious, dude.
And we were like, yo,
It's like Caddyshack.
right? And the fox eventually ran off or whatever. And I was like, yo, Dean, that fucking fox almost stole your ball. We laughed our asses off. That was the strangest thing. It was almost like, you know, what are you doing on my fucking golf course?
That's funny, right? Yeah,
It
they
was
were
the
there-
craziest thing.
Yeah, the foxes there long before they built the course.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Like all the deer around where I live.
yeah, I got them all over too. Boy, what a fantastic conversation.
Yeah, it's been interesting.
Yeah, that was really cool, man. You know what I mean?
It was not as painful as I thought it would be.
Well, you know what? Like,
That was cool. It's just like you said, just like sitting around.
well,
No set script.
we don't get a
And
chance
we try to touch
really,
on different things.
We don't get a chance to unpack things at a deeper level, and
Right.
there's two sides to humility, right? There's the one side of humility that I think is very important, right? You know what I mean? And you're clearly a man for others, right? And that's a powerful example. You know, the example of humility is one that I work towards every day. I find it incredibly attractive. You know what I mean? Like when people, you know, have been around for a long time and it's more about others, like that's powerful. There's two sides to that coin, and the other side to that coin is that, you know, we have powerful stories that lend themselves to benefit others. And, you know, and when people don't really understand that, like just the example of the fact that you can come here at a very young age and stay here for a very long time
Yeah.
and still be participating in recovery and still be working on yourself in the process and still staying clean after all these years, because I have a disease that tells me, that undermines me, that tells me that there is a certain endpoint where maybe you don't have to participate in this thing as much.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, now I know the reality of it is that I still stay plugged in and still do these things. But, you know, sometimes you got to look at somebody and say, there's that cat right here, and he's been here for a long ass time. and he's still here. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
don't believe the hype.
It's funny too. I was thinking about also over the years at an early point in my getting clean and recovery time. Everybody gets out of rehab or whatever. 30 days, they're going to be a counselor,
Right.
which there's nothing wrong with that. If you're going
Right.
to be a counselor, go to school, take the classes, become a counselor, the whole 9 yards. We need counselors. We particularly need counselors that understand us,
Right.
that are like us. But I never had that urge. I never felt like my goal was I wanted to participate. I wanted to help grow. I wanted to grow my recovery, right? And I didn't want to get paid to help people get clean.
Right.
So I became a
Right.
carpenter,
Right.
and I just do carpentry for my survival of well, to pay the bills, not survival. And I just do recovery for myself and help others.
Right.
As they say, you can't keep it if you don't give it away.
Right. Right.
So I like giving it away because that's what got me help. Somebody gave it to me.
I've actually kept it pretty simple. Like, I'm kind of a trenches guy. Like, home group sponsorship. You know what I mean?
I was
Helping a
thinking about the
newcomer.
exact same thing yesterday. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not that involved in the area because I jump back and forth with it because I get tired of it. Region, I haven't messed with that in 25, 30 years. But I've been a member of the same home group for 15 years.
That's kind of like
I'm there all the time.
I'm like, if I stay in that, because people will be like, hey, you know what?
And I'm noticing a turnover in the group, and there's a bunch of young people and new people there that are impressionable. And it's not like I'm
100%.
trying to push my stuff onto them, but just by being there, like you said, I'm a kind of an example. Here's this guy, he's been around. Because sometimes they'll come up and ask, well, how long you been clean? I'm like, really long time.
Well,
And then I'll tell them how long, and they're like dumbfounded.
I think that's so.
Which is cool because then they go, well, you still coming? Yeah. Or they see people that I've noticed a lot lately, like the guy that sponsors me, he's coming up on 20 years in November.
Okay.
And a whole bunch of people with like 18, 19, 20 years that I know
Right.
in the fellowship. It's like, I was at a meeting the other day and they were saying that, and I'm like, shit, it seems like yesterday they had 3.
I think that sometimes there's some confusion in, like, we read the literature all the time, and one of the things that the group pamphlet, there's this section that talks about, we should be clear to identify ourselves as an addict in recovery, right? You know what I mean? Like, and we talk about how we carry the message, right?
Right.
And I think so many people think that carrying the message is about some, deep level of wisdom or massive gesture and I think that there's probably one of the most powerful ways that we carry the message is just an example that we keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And that we're still here. And I think that's probably one of the most powerful ways that we carry the message that doesn't really get talked about as much. Like, everybody says we carry the message, and the message sounds like, well, I gotta say some lot of shit.
Yeah, right. I was just thinking
Right,
that too.
you know
It's
what I
like
mean?
sometimes the best way to carry the message is not to say anything.
Yeah,
Because you're
just
sitting, like I'll be sitting in my home group, and sometimes I want to, I might feel like I want to share, but then this one jumps in, and then that one jumps in, and I go, I don't need to say
being
anything.
an example.
I can be quiet because they already said everything I need to say.
Yeah, being an example is one of the most powerful ways that we carry a message. And in that way, there's a subtleness to it that doesn't require a whole lot to be said.
Mm-hmm.
And I think clearly, I take away from my predecessors some things, and you know, and I use the term emulate, you know what I mean? Because I wish to emulate people, you know what I mean? Like I pull apart pieces of like other people's recovery and things that I admire, and I say, well, fuck, you know what I mean? Like that's, you know, if I could be more like that, you know what I mean? And I've certainly learned some things here today, you know what I mean? Like there's certainly things about the way you carry yourself, and I think to myself, if I could be a little more like that, I appreciate that. Powerful.
I appreciate you, Jim.
Powerful. Love you, brother.
Love you too.
Love you, brother.
It's interesting getting to know one another.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? Seeing the similarities. Fuck, we say we concentrate on the similarities, not the differences, but sometimes we run across people and we see fuck ton more similarities than we realized.
Yeah, you don't know until you get deeper, and then you're like, oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, you
Wow.
too? You too? You too?
Mm.
It is funny. I mean, it should be second nature to us because, you know, we are all addicts, but you have that umbrella of addict, and then it's like 4,000 tentacles you go out. It could be any, like it says in our literature, right? There is no motto to recover an addict.
Hmm. And I think we've got a superpower that we gained that isn't common in the rest of the world, and that's the power of vulnerability. I think because we get used to, you know what I mean, if you're encouraged to and you drink the Kool-Aid, you learn a little bit more about how peeling back the layers and being honest about things that normal people out there in the real world would hide behind.
Yeah, they
and-
don't disclose.
Right, and we get kind of like our disclosure Jones and muscle gets built up over time. So
Yeah.
our ability to have these conversations that kind of like spill out into things that, you know, are things that ordinarily people would hide from or be ashamed of or whatever. And I think people die in shame.
Yeah, another thing that I noticed that's interesting is I was talking to a guy yesterday about it. Honesty, self-honesty, right?
Right.
Or honesty with others. I've had several relationships with females over the years, and every one I've been in, they would ask me something, and then maybe like a month later, they'd ask me a similar question, and I'd give them the same answer.
Right.
And they go, well, you said so-and-so or this, that, and the other. I go, I don't lie today. I don't lie anymore. So
Right.
I don't have to remember what I said fucking yesterday, 2 days ago, a month ago, 8 years ago. Because if you ask me something and I know the answer, I'm just going to tell you. I'm not going to make shit up. So I don't have to remember, oh, well, I told her this and then I said that.
There's
And then,
so much freedom in that.
oh, yeah.
You know, what Capone said.
Because
if
it's free
you
to be
must-
ourselves.
Capone said, if you must lie, keep it simple.
There you go.
Right? You know what I mean? Like,
And then
you
the
know,
exact opposite with that Jimmy Cagney movie, Never Steal
Yeah.
Anything Small.
Yeah.
Because you're getting busted for stealing anyway. You
Never
robbed a
steal-
bank.
Never steal anything small. I got to go back and dig that up. I got to watch that. Man, fantastic. Man, I love you, brother.
I love you too.
Give
It's
me
been
a fucking fist pound. That's how we do. You know what I mean?
been,
Dancing on a
podcast.
Volcano, episode 21. We went there. We came back living a fantastic life. Listen, just real quick, we have a lot of people that watch the show. You know, we hope that we're delivering value to you. You know, we don't ask much. There's no monetary gain here. We're not monetized in any way. But we would really appreciate it if you would help us. And I only ask really one thing. If you would please click like below. If you would click subscribe so that you can see future episodes of Dancing on a Volcano. If you would please share this with others. Help us get the word out. You never know when somebody who's in a difficult place sees a message of hope and that, you know, there is a life after difficult times. Please feel free to leave comments in the bottom. Tell us what you think, suggest to us other people we'd like to have on the show. And again, thank you so much for watching Dancing on a Volcano. I appreciate you. Love you.
I was staring at the bottle, thinking maybe it was time. Had a note in my pocket, few words in a line. But the night pulled me closer to a circle of chairs where broken men whisper that they've been there. Now I'm dancing on a volcano, bare feet over fire and stone. Yeah, I've lived through hell, but I'm not alone. The edge don't scare me, I've already been burned. Every step I take now is a lesson I've learned. The steps on the wall look too tall to climb, but I took them one at a time. Strangers became brothers, sisters sang my song. They carried me steady when I couldn't be strong. I'm dancing on a volcano, no, bare feet over fire and stone. Yeah, I've lived through hell, but I'm not alone. The edge don't scare me, I've already been burned. Every step I take now is a lesson I've learned. Now I'm dancing on a volcano, bare feet over fire and stone. Yeah, I've lived through hell, but I'm not alone. The edge don't scare me, I've already been burned. Every step I take now is a lesson I've learned. Now I'm dancing on a volcano, bare feet over fire and stone. Yeah, I've lived through hell, but I'm not alone. The edge don't scare me, I've already been burned. Every step I take now is a lesson I've learned. I found love in the quiet, hope in the pain. Happiness grows like flowers in rain. I was ready to fall, now I'm learning to stand. Life feels lighter with God in my hands. Now I'm dancing on a volcano, with a smile where the ashes blow. The fire tried to claim me, but I let it go. The edge don't scare me, I've already been burned. Any day I'm living is a day I've earned.
It's a source of volcano with a smile where the ashes blow. The fire tried to claim me, but I let it go. The edge don't scare me, I've already been burned. Every day I'm living is a day I've earned.